I was working the front desk at a hotel in Prague when an American family walked up to check in. The dad pulled out his wallet before I even finished explaining the room rate. He counted out exact change, then placed a $20 bill on top. "For your trouble," he said with a big smile. I looked at the bill, then at him, then back at the bill. "Sir, this is Czech currency we use here. Also, we don't really do tipping at hotel desks." His face went completely blank. "But how do you make a living?" he asked, genuinely concerned. I pointed at my salary on the employee board behind me. He stared at it like I'd just shown him alien technology. My cousin worked at a train station in Belgium. An American tourist approached her window, clearly stressed. "I need a ticket to Paris, but I only have 3 hours to get there." My cousin checked the schedule. "The next train is in 20 minutes. You'll arrive in an hour and 20 minutes. The woman's eyes went wide. "An hour and 20 minutes? To Paris, from here?" She looked around suspiciously. "Is this some kind of European speed record?" My cousin blinked. "Ma'am, Paris is 80 kilometers away." The woman pulled out her phone, did some math, then gasped. "That's only 50 miles. I thought Europe was bigger." Another story. A friend of mine worked at a cafe in Amsterdam. American customer ordered coffee. Simple enough. She made it, handed it over. He took one sip and his whole face changed. "Excuse me, this coffee is tiny." She looked at the cup. "Normal size." "That's a standard coffee, sir." He held up his thumb and finger about 4 inches apart. "In America, coffee is this big. This is like a shot glass." She tried not to smile. "Sir, that's an espresso size, yes. Would you like a larger cup?" He nodded eagerly. She poured the same espresso into a bigger cup. He looked at it, confused, but took it anyway. Paid. Left. Didn't complain. Just accepted that European coffee defies physics. Last one for the intro. My neighbor worked at a pharmacy in Copenhagen. American tourist came in looking panicked. "I need Tylenol. Regular strength. The kind that comes in a bottle of 500 pills." My neighbor paused. 500 pills? For how many people? The tourist looked confused by the question. "Just me. That's how we buy it back home." My neighbor slowly pulled out a box of 20 tablets. "This is what we sell here. If you need more, you come back." The Americans stared at the tiny box like it was a cruel joke. "But what if I run out?" My neighbor smiled. "Then the pharmacy will still be here." These stories sound made up. They're not. I've collected them from friends, family, co-workers, and random people on the internet who work in tourism. And trust me, they never stop coming. This is the kind of cultural clarity I share every week. Real stories that reveal how our assumptions travel with us. If that perspective matters to you, you'll want to stay tuned. I worked at a car rental place in Dublin for 2 years. American customers were always interesting. This one guy rented a car, super confident, said he'd driven in Europe before. 10 minutes later, he came back, pale, shaking. "The roads here are backwards." I nodded. "Yes, we drive on the left side." He shook his head. "No, I mean the roads are backwards. The signs, the exits, everything is mirrored." I had to explain that roads aren't mirrored. They're just designed for left-side driving. He didn't believe me. He asked if we had any American-style cars. I told him all cars work the same, just different side. He rented it anyway. Came back 3 hours later. "I figured it out," he announced proudly. "I just pretended I was in a video game." My sister worked at a hostel in Lisbon. American guest asked where the ice machine was. She said we don't have one. He looked horrified. "No ice machine? How do you keep drinks cold?" She pointed to the fridge. He wasn't satisfied. "But what about ice for water?" She explained that Europeans don't usually put ice in water. He actually argued with her about this. Said it was unhealthy to drink room-temperature water. She showed him the cold water tap. He filled a glass, tasted it, made a face. It's not the same without ice. He went to a grocery store, bought a bag of ice, brought it back to the hostel. Kept it in the communal freezer. Left a note, "Community ice, please share." Nobody touched it. When he checked out a week later, the entire bag was still there. A guy I know worked at a bakery in Lyon. American customer pointed at a croissant. "How much?" My friend told him the price in euros. The American pulled out a calculator, converted it to dollars, then frowned. "That's expensive for bread." My friend, very calmly, explained it's not bread. It's a croissant. Handmade. Fresh that morning. The American shook his head. "In America, we get a whole loaf for that price." My friend smiled. "Then maybe buy a whole loaf here, too." The American did. Bought a baguette. Left happy. Came back an hour later. "This bread has no flavor." My friend explained that French bread doesn't have sugar or preservatives. The American looked betrayed. "So it's just flour and water?" My friend nodded. The American left, mumbling about how bread should taste like something. My cousin worked at a train platform in Munich. An American family missed their train because they showed up 2 minutes before departure. They were furious. "The train left early," they insisted. My cousin checked the schedule. No, it left exactly on time. The dad argued that 2 minutes isn't enough time to board. My cousin explained that in Germany, if the departure time is 10:15, the train leaves at 10:15. Not 10:17, not 10:16, 10:15. The mom asked how anyone catches trains with that system. My cousin stared at her. "By arriving earlier than 2 minutes before." The family didn't like that answer. They filed a complaint. The complaint went nowhere. The trains kept leaving on time. A friend worked at a grocery store in Stockholm. American shopper asked where the peanut butter aisle was. My friend said, "We don't have an aisle, just a small section." The American followed her, then stopped. "This is it? 6 jars?" My friend nodded. The American looked devastated. "How do you survive?" My friend didn't know how to answer that. The American bought all 6 jars. Came back the next day. They were gone. "Did you eat 6 jars of peanut butter in one day?" My friend asked. The American laughed. "No, I'm stocking up before I leave Europe." "Can you order more?" My friend explained she couldn't special order American products for one customer. The American left disappointed, muttering something about European supply chains. I worked at a hotel in Vienna. American guest called the front desk at 11 at night. "There's no air conditioning." I explained that many European buildings don't have AC, but we provide fans. He said fans don't count. I told him to open the window. He said it was too loud outside. I suggested closing the window and using the fan. He said that defeats the purpose. I asked what he wanted me to do. He said, "Install air conditioning." I laughed, thought he was joking. He wasn't joking. He genuinely expected the hotel to install AC in his room overnight. I offered to move him to a cooler room. He declined, said he liked his current room, just wanted it colder. I brought him 3 extra fans. He used them all. Checkout review. Great hotel, but no AC. 3 stars. Another hotel story. Different guest. American woman asked for the elevator. I pointed to it. She walked over, pressed the button, waited. Door opened. She stepped in, looked around, stepped out. Came back to my desk. "That elevator is broken." I asked what was wrong. She said, "It doesn't have buttons inside." I walked over with her. The elevator had buttons. She pointed at them. "Those say 0, 1, 2, 3. Where's the lobby button?" I blinked. 0 is the lobby. Her face changed completely. "Why is the lobby 0? Lobbies are floor 1. I explained that in Europe, ground floor is 0. First floor is 1 level up. She processed this for a solid 10 seconds. "So the second floor is actually the 3rd floor?" I nodded. She laughed, but not in a happy way. More like her brain was rebooting. She used the stairs the entire week. My friend worked at a restaurant in Barcelona. American group came in, party of 6. They sat down, started snapping their fingers at waitstaff. My friend walked over. "How can I help you?" One of them, without looking up from the menu, said, Water, 6 waters. Now. No, please. No eye contact. My friend brought the water. They didn't say thank you. Ordered food the same way. Pointed at menu items, said numbers. I'll have number 4. She wants number 7. My friend wrote it down. Stayed professional. Food came out. They ate. Complained it was too small. Asked for ketchup. My friend explained they don't serve ketchup with paella. One of them said, every restaurant has ketchup. My friend brought ketchup from the back, used for kids' meals. They emptied the bottle onto their food, left a €1 tip on a €100 bill. My friend watched them leave, then told me, I finally understand why Europeans think Americans are exhausting. My cousin worked at a pub in London. American customer ordered fish and chips. It arrived. He stared at it. Called the server over. This isn't fried. The server looked confused. Sir, it's battered and fried. The American shook his head. No, fried food is crispy and brown. This is pale. The server explained that's how proper fish and chips look. Light golden batter, not dark brown. The American insisted it was undercooked. The server brought him a fresh piece. Same color. He sent that back too. Asked for it, extra fried. The kitchen made it darker, almost burnt. He tasted it. Now that's fried fish. Left happy. Everyone in the kitchen was confused. A cafe story from Copenhagen. American asked for coffee to go. My friend made it, handed it over in a paper cup. The American looked at the cup, then around the cafe. Is this it? My friend asked what he meant. There's no sleeve. No double cup. Nothing. My friend said the cup is insulated, you don't need a sleeve. The American touched it. It's hot. My friend nodded. Yes, coffee is hot. The American asked for napkins to wrap around it. My friend gave him napkins. He wrapped the cup like a mummy, walked out, holding it with both hands, looking uncomfortable. My friend watched through the window as he struggled to open the door while holding his napkin-wrapped coffee. He eventually just put it down, opened the door, picked it back up, left. I worked at a pizza place in Naples. American tourists came in, excited, ordered a large pizza. It came out, whole, uncut. They stared at it. One of them raised his hand. Excuse me, can we get this sliced? I explained we don't slice pizzas here. You use a knife and fork. They looked at each other. You eat pizza with a fork? I nodded. They tried it, struggled, gave up. One of them picked up a slice with his hands, folded it, ate it. His friends followed. The entire restaurant went quiet. Italians were staring. Not angry, just fascinated. Like watching a nature documentary. The Americans didn't notice. Finished the pizza. Left happy. As soon as they were gone, everyone started talking about it. That story lived in that restaurant for months. Another food story. Berlin. American customer at a kebab shop. Ordered a doner. It came wrapped in paper. He unwrapped it completely. Put it on a plate he brought from home. Used a fork and knife. Cut it into tiny pieces. Ate it like a salad. The guy working there watched in silence. Afterwards, he told me, I've worked here 6 years. Never seen that before. I didn't know whether to stop him or applaud him. My friend worked at a cafe in Paris. American ordered a cappuccino at 4 in the afternoon. The barista hesitated. Are you sure? The American nodded. The barista made it, but looked uncomfortable handing it over. The American noticed. What's wrong? The barista explained that in France, cappuccinos are a morning drink. Afternoon is for espresso. The American laughed. It's just coffee. The barista didn't argue. The American sat outside, drank it slowly. Every French person who walked by glanced at him. Not mean looks. Just curious, like spotting a rare bird. The American felt the stares, got self-conscious, drank faster, came back inside. Why is everyone looking at me? The barista said, You're drinking a cappuccino at 4 p.m. The American didn't get it. Left confused. Probably still confused. A grocery store story from Helsinki. American shopper brought items to check out. Everything scanned fine until the alcohol. The cashier asked for ID. The American showed a driver's license. The cashier said she needed a passport. The American argued a license is valid ID. The cashier explained that in Finland, only passports work for foreigners buying alcohol. The American said that was ridiculous. The cashier shrugged. The American asked to speak to a manager. Manager came, said the same thing. The American left without the alcohol, angry. Came back an hour later with a passport. Bought the alcohol. Didn't apologize. Just muttered, "Weird country." I worked at a tourist info center in Athens. American walked in, asked how far Rome was. I said about 1,000 kilometers. He asked what that was in miles. I did the math. About 620 miles. He looked shocked. "That's so far," I nodded. He asked how long to drive. I said probably 10 hours, maybe more. He shook his head. In the U.S., we drive 10 hours and stay in the same state. I didn't know what to say to that. He left, still amazed that countries are far apart. My sister worked at a museum in Amsterdam. American visitor asked what language they spoke in Holland. She said Dutch? He looked confused. "But we're in Amsterdam," she nodded. "Yes, Amsterdam is in Holland, which is part of the Netherlands. We speak Dutch." He processed this. "So Holland and Netherlands are the same?" She said mostly, yes. He frowned. "Then why have two names?" She started explaining, gave up halfway. "It's complicated." He accepted that answer, moved on. A friend worked at a bookstore in Edinburgh. American asked where the England section was. My friend corrected him gently. "This is Scotland." The American nodded. "Right, England." My friend tried again. "No, Scotland." "Different country?" The American laughed. "Same thing, though, right?" My friend took a deep breath. "Not the same. Scotland is part of the UK, but it's not England." The American waved his hand. "UK, England, whatever. Same place." My friend gave up. Showed him the Scotland section. He bought a book about England. I worked at a pharmacy in Brussels. American asked why medicine was so expensive. I explained prices were regulated by the government. He said that sounded like socialism. I said maybe, but it keeps prices lower. He disagreed. In America, competition keeps prices low. I didn't argue. He bought paracetamol for €3. Said it would cost $30 back home. I asked if that proved my point. He said no, American medicine was just higher quality. I showed him the exact same brand. He insisted American versions were different. Left unconvinced, my cousin worked at a gas station in Germany. American pulled in, started pumping. The total came to €60. He panicked. €60 for half a tank? My cousin explained fuel costs more in Europe. He argued that was unfair. My cousin asked, compared to what? He said American prices. My cousin explained Europe has higher taxes on fuel. He called that theft. My cousin stopped engaging. He paid, left angry, came back an hour later. "How do you afford to drive here?" My cousin said public transport exists. He said that wasn't freedom. My cousin said, "Okay, a hotel story from Zurich." American guest complained his room was too small. I explained Swiss hotel rooms are compact. He said his closet back home was bigger. I believed him. He asked why Europe builds small rooms. I said land is expensive. Buildings are old. He suggested tearing everything down and rebuilding bigger. I stared at him. These buildings are 300 years old. He said, exactly, they're outdated. I explained people value history. He said practicality matters more. We agreed to disagree. He stayed the week, complained daily. A train story from Poland. American asked why the train temperature was so warm. The conductor said it was winter. Heating was on. The American said it was too hot. Conductor offered to crack a window. The American said that would make it too cold. The conductor asked what temperature he wanted. The American said 72 degrees. The conductor asked Celsius or Fahrenheit. The American said Fahrenheit, obviously. The conductor did the conversion. 22 Celsius. He adjusted it. The American said it still felt wrong. The conductor said that's the temperature. The American spent the rest of the trip fanning himself with a magazine. I worked at a clothing store in Milan. American asked for shoe size 10. I asked US or European sizing. He didn't know there was a difference. I showed him a conversion chart. His size was 43 European. He looked at the number. That's a huge size. I explained it's just a different numbering system. He didn't believe me. Tried on the shoes. They fit perfectly. He was amazed. European sizes are weird. I didn't disagree. My friend worked at a car wash in Lisbon. American drove up in a rental, asked for the premium wash. My friend said it would take 20 minutes. The American looked at his watch. 20 minutes? In the US, it takes 5. My friend explained they wash by hand here, not machines. The American asked why. My friend said it's more thorough. The American disagreed. Machines are faster and better. My friend said, okay, but we still do it by hand. The American waited. Car came out spotless. He admitted it looked good, then asked, but why 20 minutes? A cafe story from Vienna. American ordered coffee, paid with a €50 note. My friend gave change. The American counted it twice. This is wrong, my friend recounted. It was correct. The American insisted he was shortchanged. My friend walked him through the math, showed the receipt. The American pulled out his phone, did the calculation, finally nodded. Oh, I forgot about the euro conversion. My friend asked what he meant. The American said he'd been mentally converting everything to dollars and got confused. My friend suggested just using euros while in Europe. The American said that felt weird. My friend had no response to that. Last story for this section. Copenhagen Airport. American family at check-in, confused about baggage weight limits. The limit was 20 kilos. They asked what that was in pounds. Agent said about 44 pounds. Their bag weighed 30 kilos. They argued it wasn't that much. Agent put it on the scale. Showed them. 66 pounds. They were shocked. But it doesn't feel that heavy. Agent explained feelings don't change weight. They paid the overage fee, mumbling about metric system conspiracies. I want to end with one more story because it ties everything together perfectly. My friend worked at a small hotel in Prague, same city where this whole thing started. American guest checked in, seemed normal enough. Third day of his stay, he came to the desk looking stressed. I need help. My friend asked what was wrong. Everything here is different. My friend waited. The outlets are different. The light switches are different. The money is different. The food is different. Even the toilets are different. My friend nodded slowly. Yes, you're in a different country. The American stared at her. But why is it so different? My friend didn't have an answer for that. She wanted to say because America isn't the center of the universe, but she stayed professional. Instead, she asked, is there something specific I can help you with? The American thought about it. Yeah, where can I find normal food? She asked what he meant by normal. He said, like Applebee's or something. She told him there's no Applebee's in Prague. He looked genuinely sad. She suggested a local restaurant with familiar options. He went. Came back an hour later. That was actually pretty good, she smiled. He continued. Still weird that you don't have Applebee's, though. Here's the thing about these stories. They're not meant to make anyone look bad. They're just honest moments where two different worlds collide. Americans aren't wrong for expecting things to work a certain way. And Europeans aren't wrong for having their own systems. It's just funny when those expectations meet reality. I track patterns like this constantly. Not to mock, but to map how cultures collide and learn from each other. If that kind of grounded analysis resonates with you, subscribe and keep following the series. The reason these stories keep happening is simple. Travel is the fastest way to realize your normal isn't everyone's normal. That's uncomfortable. It's also necessary. Every single person in these stories eventually figured things out. The guy who panicked about driving on the left finished his road trip. The woman who wanted ice in her water survived a week without it. The family who missed their train learned to show up early. They adapted. That's what travel teaches you. But man, the journey to that adaptation is entertaining. I've been collecting these stories for 3 years now. Friends send me new ones weekly. The folder on my computer has over 200 stories. I could make 10 more videos just from that folder. Each one follows the same pattern: confusion, frustration, eventual acceptance, then either adaptation or a strongly worded online review. These stories never stop coming. As long as people travel, cultures will clash. As long as cultures clash, there will be moments where someone stands in a foreign country, holding a tiny coffee cup or a room-temperature water bottle or a cappuccino at 4 p.m., wondering why the world works this way. This isn't just content, it's context. And if you care about understanding how people see the world differently, this channel was built for you. And honestly, that's beautiful. Not despite the confusion, but because of it. So yeah, that's what happens when Americans discover the world works differently. Sometimes they adapt. Sometimes they complain. Usually both. And trust me, these stories never stop coming.